Got it. Here's a very long, narrative analytical summary in English, opening and closing with a question, written as a reaction to the video and transcript you shared. Has the White House, once the embodiment of American tradition and democratic gravitas, now become the stage for self-congratulatory spectacles and billionaire praise sessions? In this latest scene that raised eyebrows across the political spectrum, the world's most powerful tech titans, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Tim Cook, Sundar Pichai, and others, gathered at the White House for what can only be described as a carefully orchestrated evening of adulation. Though notably absent was Elon Musk, the tone of the dinner remained one of deference, with each executive taking a turn to thank Donald Trump for his pro-business leadership, his refreshing approach to innovation, and his promise to clear bureaucratic hurdles for the booming AI industry. What unfolded was less a sober policy dialogue and more a performance, reminiscent of Trump's cabinet meetings where officials famously competed to shower him with praise in front of cameras. Observers like Teddy Schleifer, reporting for the New York Times, described the evening as a kumbaya moment between tech and the Trump administration. After years of friction during the Biden era, the industry appeared relieved, almost jubilant, to be back in the president's good graces. Yet beneath the optics of unity lies an unmistakable undercurrent of calculation. Tech executives were not only expressing gratitude, but also safeguarding their corporate empires by aligning themselves with a president eager to dismantle regulatory barriers. Their compliments may have carried sincerity, but they also carried strategy, a transactional performance where applause is exchanged for political leverage. The seating arrangement itself told a story. Zuckerberg, head of Meta, was placed directly beside Trump, a symbolic and strategic reward, especially given Meta's vocal push to see TikTok restricted or even banned. The absence of TikTok's CEO only heightened the impression that the White House had become a venue for corporate rivalries to play out in plain sight. Meanwhile, the fact that the First Lady, Melania Trump, hosted an earlier discussion and raised concerns about artificial intelligence added a curious twist. Her warnings about robots and AI safety suggested a cautionary note. Yet her rare public appearance also reinforced the theatricality of the evening, blurring the lines between policymaking and public relations. It was Jim Messina, Obama's former deputy chief of staff, who cut through the spectacle with blunt criticism. To him, the event was not just unusual, it was out of control. The White House, he argued, is not a private club, nor a Vegas nightclub, but a sacred institution representing 225 years of democratic continuity. By turning it into a Rose Garden club or an exclusive stage for billionaire praise, Trump risks degrading not only the symbolism of the presidency, but also the dignity of governance itself. Messina's frustration echoed a broader bipartisan discomfort. When political leadership becomes indistinguishable from personal pageantry, democracy itself begins to look like a backdrop rather than the main act. The deeper question is whether this event reflects a temporary flourish or a permanent redefinition of American politics. Trump's style has always been rooted in spectacle, blurring the boundaries between entertainment, business, and governance. For his supporters, such displays affirm strength, dominance, and a willingness to reward loyalty. For his critics, they embody the worst instincts of power, vanity, opportunism, and the erosion of norms meant to protect democratic institutions from becoming personal stages. The symbolism could not be ignored. On one side of Trump sat Zuckerberg, representing the immense reach of social media and the future of digital influence. On the other, Melania Trump, signaling both continuity of the Trump brand and a carefully curated image of family presence. Around them, some of the wealthiest individuals on Earth clapped, smiled, and leaned into the performance. It was, in essence, an image of power, money, and politics fused into a single tableau. A tableau that raises uncomfortable questions about who truly benefits from such gatherings. The American people, or the elite few who can afford a seat at the table. In the end, what lingers is not the specific promises made about permits, AI, or regulatory relief, but the unsettling image of the White House as a private hall for Trump to host what Messina called self-throned parties. These spectacles may excite supporters, amuse critics, and empower billionaires, but they also chip away at the very idea of the presidency as a unifying institution above personal ego. So we must ask, is this just another chapter in Trump's theatrics? Or are we witnessing the transformation of the American presidency into something fundamentally more performative, transactional, and dangerously detached from its democratic purpose? Would you like me to make a slightly shorter version of this too, around 5 to 6 paragraphs, so you can use it in places where a very long text might not fit, like YouTube descriptions?